The National Geographic Photo Ark is using the power of photography to inspire people to help save species at risk before it's too late. Photo Ark founder Joel Sanator has photographed more than 9,000 species around the world as part of a multi-year effort to document every living species in zoos and wildlife sanctuaries, inspire action through education, and help save wildlife by supporting on-the-ground conservation efforts. Hi, I'm Sophia. Welcome to the Ark Project documentary. Today we're going to be talking with Ryan Cook about climate change and how it affects the animals of the Ark Project. So Ryan, I was wondering what your job is and what you do at your job.
My job as a climate scientist is to research historical events on how climate change affects animals that are part of the Ark Project. It is a very interesting job, and it affects animals that are a part of the Ark Project.
What historical events of climate change affect animals that are part of the Ark Project?
Well, there are many, but to start, polar bears and seals in the Arctic are being affected by climate change every day because of global warming. Ice melting. Global warming is the big problem. Global warming is a long-term rise in the average temperature of the Earth's climate system. It is a major aspect of the climate change and has been demonstrated by direct temperature measurements and by measurements of various effects of the warming. Climate change is affecting animals because glaciers are melting, and that's dangerous for animals. With the rise of temperature over the world, Arctic animals are suffering due to melting ice, high sea levels, and greenhouse gases.
Now that we have discussed things that are happening to the cold temperatures, is there anything happening with warm temperature?
Yes, the Australian brush fires. These fires are affecting a lot of animals in these forests. Ecologists estimate that nearly 500 million animals have died as a result of the brush fires. In New South Wales, one of the most affected regions, koalas of the brush fires have been disproportionately affected in part because they are slower moving creatures, making it more difficult for them to escape the fires. Disturbingly, the fact that they primarily eat eucalyptus, a plant whose leaves contain highly fat that they primarily Kangaroos are being affected to these brush fires are taking away their land and killing a lot of them. These fires are also affecting their food supply because all the plants are burning down.
It must be very hard for them over there. Is there anything happening with the ocean?
Floods can have a massive effect on the wildlife, animals, bird populations, including the horned guan field is strained because cloud and flood populations. Water makes hunting for fish extremely difficult. The flooding affects the sheep nose mussel. As the water rises, so do the mussels, and as they are moved downstream.
It is very impressive that you know all this. Is there anything we can do to help?
Yes, as usual, using less fossil fuels, but also not burning fires on purpose that could spread. Also raising money through the organizations for the animals affected.
Thank you for being here today and teaching us so much.
No problem. I love telling people what I know.
My next guest today is USDA conservation scientist Logan Cathcart. So, Logan, what did you research about the Ark Project?
The National Geographic Photo Ark will help funding conservation projects for species in decline. These 13 conservations will work evolutionally distinct and globally engineered species in Asia featured in the photo ark to help bring them back from the brink of extinction. Large-toothed sawfish Alpha Hakku is helping raise funds for this animal through the National Geographic Photo Ark, funding conservation projects for species in decline. Cantor's giant soft-shelled turtle Aja Jane is helping raise funds for the Cantor's giant soft-shelled turtle and accepts donations from the public. Jellybean A is photographing the gharial through the Ark Project to raise awareness that is critically endangered. Rufous-headed hornbill is critically endangered, and David Kupo is helping raise awareness by taking pictures of it. He is doing this through the National Geographic Photo Ark Edge Fellowship. The people in this project are dedicating their time to saving these animals. Ha Hong has dedicated her time in Vietnam to photograph and help save the big-headed turtle.
Thank you so much for your time, Logan. It was very interesting to learn what you know. We're here with our final guest of the day, environmental scientist Jaden Morrell. Jaden, what is your job as an environmental scientist?
As an environmental scientist, my tasks include protecting the environment for years to come. I try my best to communicate my observations with you and the rest of the people. Today I'll be focusing on the specific things we as humans do that is hurting our environment.
What are humans doing that is endangering animals?
The first and probably least talked about way of endangering the animals is habitat deforestation. We take acres and acres of land for agriculture, buildings, and manufacturing buildings. To be specific, the juvenile Bornean orangutan is in the critically endangered category due to loss of habitat. Every year they lose around 3,000 kilometers of territory. At this rate, they won't be here for many more years to come. Besides the orangutan, the blue-eyed black lemur is also considered endangered due to habitat loss. Horrible things like intentional forest fires, slash and burn agriculture, and selective mining and logging are the causes for so little lemurs to be left.
That is horrible. I'm sure there's still more though, right?
Unfortunately, yes. We're all aware of the amount of hunting we've done for ages, but we have yet to realize the long-run damage it's done. Take into consideration the Sumatran rhino. This poor animal has been hunted, especially for its horns, because of the medical properties that can be discovered. Because of the overhunting of the Sumatran rhino, there is now very little population left, and reproduction tends to be unsuccessful for this animal. Similar to the Sumatran rhino, the gravy zebra is also endangered because of the medical resources the animal contains. 40 years ago, there were over 15,000 gravy zebras roaming the earth, but now there are just barely 3,000. This creature is also locally hunted for its meat.
I never thought about hunting in that way. I didn't realize how much it really hurts these animals.
I know, and that's not even the end of it. We can't forget about all these sea animals being affected by our mistakes. The Australian sea lion is near extinction because of our marine ships' debris getting entangled with them. The sea lions are also getting caught in fish nets. We don't often know how long each individual animal has left to live, but with the southern sea otters, they have no more than 100 years until they are permanently extinct. Their number one threat is oil spills. When oil gets into their fur, the blubber becomes useless, giving them no source of heat. Because of our careless actions, we are killing millions of animals everywhere.
That is so sad. Thank you for explaining to us and opening up our eyes a little bit. I hope we can make a change soon. That is our last guest for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot.